Bounty Hunters. Life on the blockchain.
Bounty Hunters, life on the blockchain. We are back. Back again. Always on the blockchain because we never log off. Even though your host here is from the dial-up modem era. I never log off, even though I used to. So I want to start out with our shout out to our sponsor, Recon. Get recon.xyz/Riptide. Get yourself $5,000 off if you're a first-time customer for an invariant testing engagement. And I actually met up with Alex, who is one of the co-founders of Recon, over at Belgrade in the past couple of days. And he did a presentation at the Web3 Security Summit. And fuzzing is really, really cool, guys. If you're not fuzzing, I mean, he's talking about how he flipped, one of these little rounding errors that you get, and it's a couple way, and you think, oh, it's nothing big, and he flips it into a critical bug with building an invariant testing suite. So this is no joke. It's not a scam. It's not where you're never going to find anything. Like, it's a really great tool to kind of add to the arsenal. So use these guys, check them out, getrecon.xyz/Riptide, and you'll have $5,000 off your first engagement there. So check them out. Next up, we got ImmuneFi. So if you're going to launch your protocol and you want to get your bounty up there, I have a link on the link tree. Just click it because I can't even shout it out. It's so big just because it's so based. They made it super complex. So click on that and it will give us some back to the pod. And we got a new sponsor, Rare Skills, which is really cool. So I get a lot of messages from new guys. How do I get started? What do I do? Well, dude, Rare Skills, they got it all. So if you want like a structured way to pick up Solidity, ZK, they do Uniswap v3, Rust, and it's like 9-week, 10-week course. So if you're one of those guys that like, hey, I want to go to school, I want someone to tell me exactly what to do, and you want to learn it from A to Z, check out Rare Skills. Go rareskills.com/Riptide. You get 10% off one of the boot camps. And then check out our Discord, Substack, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, with all that stuff out of the way, I want to welcome Mr. 0xflint. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Happy to be here.
I love the 0x, man. A lot of people hate on 0x. I love it. You're also a 0xer.
Yeah, that's something when I started, it was like, what? How do people call themselves on Web3? It's like, OX. I didn't have a clue at the beginning what that meant, but it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to be OX as well.
You're part of the crew now. Dude,
exactly.
When I started, I was so stupid. I had no idea about like hexadecimal. Like I knew I knew about it, but I didn't know any details about it. And so I saw the 0x. I was like, now I'm elite, man. That's it. That's all I needed.
No.
All right. So Mr. Flint, whose PFP is probably the best one I've ever seen. It's a humble rock and it looks very cute. My daughter loves it. You probably, every time I post an episode, she's like, oh, who's this guy? And it's like, whatever, some cartoon that she really liked the rock. So shout out to the rock.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to something nice because I see so many people try to look ultra cool and it's like flashy and it's like cyber and punk. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna be a nice humble rock, you know.
I'm a rock.
Yes.
So, Flint, give us a quick background on who you are. Why the heck do I have this guy on the podcast? A humble rock. Give us a quick background.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a bit of a maverick. I did studies in history, political science, education, accounting, management, and law. Then I've been a high school teacher, construction worker, debt collector, lobbyist, car salesman, tech salesman, had a translation business, did an IT business, and then I went into Web3, where I made my fame as a contest enjoyer. And now I'm working at Certora as a lead security engineer. So 20 years and 20 seconds. There you go.
I thought you were only 21.
Oh no, I'm a lot older than that. I can remember the dial-up modem time.
Exactly, the best of times, BBSs. Very cool. So you're multifaceted, very skilled man with a lot of experience. And you said, you know what? I'm going to be a Web3 dominator. And what I like to see, man, I went through your Twitter, and you have one of your posts, like how you started. You post this great from before to after. And your first contest, you made how much? A penny.
Literally. Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that, man.
Yeah, because I mean that's the moment. Because before that, I had like an IT consultancy business, and I was making good money, like 10, 20K a month, depending on the clients. And I got 1 cent, so I was like, well, fuck it, I'm all in. So I closed down my business, and I said, hey, I'm gonna be an auditor. And then I made like 5K an entire year, and that kind of sucked. But
I love it, man. I know you get like, but it's like if you make your first sale selling something online, and you see, I don't care what it is, you're like, oh my god, this is like magic. The money just came in.
Yeah, it's real. So it's not fake. It's like I got money. I mean, it's 1 cent. It's an actual cent. I can't buy anything with it, but it exists. So if it's possible, then I can turn a cent into $1 million.
And what was your top contest payout in contrast?
It was like 10K Chainlink last summer, I think. Yeah. I got a few like 4K, 2K, 1K, like a bunch, like almost nothing, a few hundreds. But I think it was the best. It was the biggest one.
And so you weren't making that crazy Obrant Zigtour contest money. So you said,
no.
That's it. I'm going to go get rich auditing.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, if there's something, what I'm known for is working as long as I did while being so as horrible as I was. Because I started alongside Zigtour and Pashov and all those famous people who made millions and millions, and I was there alongside, like, hey, I made $50. For 200 hours this week, I can buy a coffee. Yippee! so yeah, but eventually grinding down the mountain and ended up where I wanted to.
So right now you're an LSR at Certora, and that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I mean, I started this like journey. It's like I read like everybody, like the C. Michel post, like, "Hey, I made $1 million in a year." And it's like, what the fuck? I want this as well. And then I just started contests, and I was like, wait, maybe I'm gonna be a C. Michel. Maybe I'm gonna have my own business. Maybe I'm gonna work at a business. Gonna see where it goes. But my dream is just to be able to audit all day, every day, and get paid for it. So I'm living the dream.
See, this is a different mindset. I think you're crazy. I would just shoot myself in the head if I had to audit all day. It's ultimately it's very boring.
I don't agree. It might be boring if you're not learning anything anymore.
True.
If it's just the same rote thing, like, is there input validation? Okay. Do they know math? Okay. I mean, is it the boring stuff? Yeah, but if it's every time like there's a new technology, a new completely stuff that you don't know, they're like, how does this work? That's fun. But yeah, I mean, then you just have to get more challenges.
Are there advantages to being like top dog at Certora? Can you say, hey, underlings, interns, you do this boring stuff, I'll do the cool stuff? Do you get to do that?
I wish. but no, basically, if you're the lead, you have to do everything, or you have to make sure that everything is being done. So it's also a bit of management. But if you're doing good, if you have like a new, exciting, difficult project, then it's like, hey, who do we want to give it to? Well, let's give it to Flint, or let's give it to somebody else who's good. So, I mean, it does have its perks, being good.
But well, let's break into these questions, because I got a bunch of questions from the Discord and Twitter that they had for you and us, I guess. But since we're on this Certora topic, all right, so I'll fire them off here. So one of the guys asked the promotion and transition to LSR at Certora, what it's like being an LSR versus an SR.
Yeah, sure. So to give you a bit of context, Certora is a startup which is now kind of turning into a scale up. So they're exploding in size. And they have they didn't have enough LSRs, so they said, like, look, who can do this? No, LSR, there is like the technical part, you have to be really good, but there's also the business part because you're responsible for the communication with the client, for the client success management, that he's happy, that he's feeling comfortable, that he's feeling taken care of, that there is going to be new opportunities. So with all my business experience, and I did really good in the audits that I did there, they said, look, Flint, do you want to do this? Because we feel you're really good in communication and you're crushing the audits. And I said, well, I mean, of course I want to do this. So yeah, so there's no official like standardized promotion process. It's just you start, and if you crush it, opportunities will come.
So I'm thinking something that's very strong they're looking for is communication and management. Like you need to be able to
they're looking for
organize,
technical.
lead a group of people.
Well, I mean, that's something you need to be if you lead a project, because you have a lot of auditors who are extremely good technical, but they can't talk to a person, because I mean they lived all their life behind the computer screen, and that's excellent. And we want those people as well. We need those people as well, but we also need people who can talk to a client. See, the client is getting nervous. The client is under pressure. Okay, how can I make sure that he feels appreciated, that he knows that we're taking care of him? That's also a communication skill. So it's not something they only looking for, but it's an add-on which is very much appreciated.
All right. Next one was, how can a beginner break into a role at Certora? What qualities or skills do you look for when hiring an SR? Any tips on how to get hired?
Sure. Just be senior, basically. Just have the skill level of a senior, and we'll give you a contract ASAP. And
okay.
If you
what
don't
if you're
have
a
that,
beginner?
yeah, get good.
How do you show that you're good? Like, how do you got to probably top in some contests? You got to show some audits you did. Like, what do you do for these guys that say, hey, that's my dream?
Basically, you do what I did and what hundreds of other people did. You study in silence, you work on either bounties or contests, and you show that you have elite skills by winning contests, by making a lot of money, to the point that we're happy to have you. Because I mean, Web3 is kind of unique in the sense there's no juniors don't really exist. You have to be skilled to start at the beginning. So that's something you have to do alone, and just do the work and get good, and then you'll get a contract.
Yeah. Is there anything like this that you can think of where it's totally merit based? Because what you're saying is totally true. And that it's like, I like what you said, code in silence, study in silence. And that's what you do. And if you're good, it rises to the top and everyone will find out. If you're not, that's it.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter what school you went to.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Alex about this like a long time ago, and he put it perfectly in one sentence. If you're good, no problem. If you're not good, shut the fuck up and get good. Basically, I mean, that's what I love about Web3. It's a pure meritocracy. So all you need to do is get good. You don't need to talk blah blah blah, put on a shining suit, write 15 letters in the resumes and all that bullshit. Just show me your skill. If your skill is good, you're gonna get contract offers from every top auditor firm. If you're not, well, then shut the fuck up and get good. I mean,
yeah. And I would say for guys that are kind of introverts, which a lot of these guys are, you need to flex a little bit. Like, get on Twitter. If you made some good accomplishments, you did a great audit, whatever, just put it out there. And you may not like the self-promotion, but if no one knows about it, no one can kind of, give you these leads, because leads will just come on X. I get all kinds of leads that come in just because I'll shit post or whatever, put things out there. I'll get DMs. I'll get that's how it works, man. That's this world. So make sure you get out there and talk to people online.
No, you make a very good point, because in Web3, because we're all semi-anonymous or anonymous, your Twitter profile is basically who you are. And the more you share, the more people will get to know you, and the more they'll like you, or well, perhaps dislike you. And that will also help you, because for me, I've been posting everything from day one. So after 2 or 3 years, people basically know me. So my CV is my Twitter. So they want to know how I am, what do I do, and they see, okay, if things go south, he's gonna keep working. If it's not good, he's gonna keep working. Whatever happens, he's gonna continue. And that's also with people at Certora or other firms looked at, and I said, look, I mean, Maybe he's not exactly immediately the top dog in skill, but we know from his personality he'll get there as fast as humanly possible. So that also matters. So yeah, certainly get on Twitter, show what you do, show your personality, if it's good, of course. Otherwise, work on that. Yeah, because you also have a few people are like, what the hell? But yeah, it's certainly a strong suggestion.
Yeah, and you've also shown this kind of you're like a dog, like a Rottweiler. You just grab in and you're not letting go because your Twitter account is like, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I'm eating some steak. I'm going to the gym and then I'm starting to code. And you're very consistent with it. And it reminds me of who's a guy, Jocko, who I think started
Yeah,
off
I know
that
him.
kind of
Yes, yes,
thing.
yes, yes, yes,
And I
yes,
was
yes.
like, it's a really cool thing to do. It's just anything where you can do something and be repetitive about it and be disciplined about it, I think you can't find a negative about it.
No, it's also very much something I would suggest because, especially in our field, very often you don't really control the outputs. I mean, regardless if it's like a repo for a bounty or for an audit or for a contest, you don't know what you're going to find. You don't know how many other people are going to be. You don't know if you're going to be too late or too early or the client is going to disappear. You don't have a clue. All you can control is your input, how much you do every single day, and then day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So you should only focus on that because that is something you can control.
See, this is why we get the older guys on, because they have all this wisdom. You feel that wisdom right there. That was really good. You can't get that at 21, man. It just
No,
doesn't happen.
you have to fail and suck at 50 things over 20 years.
Absolutely.
You
All right,
know.
we're gonna keep going through these questions I
Sure.
got from the readers. Okay, this is from Chai Bike. He says, "Let him know he's an inspiration to me." So big shout out.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
I love hearing
Appreciate
that.
it.
All right, next guy is Tino Official. He says, "For doing audit competitions, is it worth it to do formal verification or just stick to manual review?"
Specifically for contests, I think manual review is the best. I mean, formal verification is awesome, but it takes a lot of time to set up, a lot of time to debug, and the audit is most likely going to be finished before you get to that point.
Yeah, I go with that. Next one, NFT Ant says, "How do you guys approach projects with previous audits? Do you take a look at the prior audits to gauge what was already looked at to get some ideas, or do you ignore them completely?"
Usually just ignore them unless, well, it depends. If it was an audit where they had a lot of bugs, then I'm going to look at the fix review. Because often that's the part where a company or another team, like, we did the work, now we're going to review the fixes. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. And it happens quite often that they miss a few of the implications or unforeseen side effects from the fix review. So that's one thing I would look at, but in general, it's not a focus.
That's a good point. I can't say I look at audits to get ideas off of it. I do kind of like just take a break sometime and look through the audits just to kind of see how the project responded. And maybe if I think, oh, that should have been fixed, or why they dismissed that. I mean, you can get some auditors have better reports than others, and they'll do the follow-ups and they kind of get good descriptive answers from the client. So sometimes you could learn things, but I don't think I've got ideas from looking at prior audits.
Yeah, no ideas. No, you got ideas from reading the code.
Yeah. Last question from 0x pseudonym. I guess you probably already touched on this. Roadmap path from noob to skilled would be amazing. How to land that first role / internship. And I think we talked about this.
Yeah,
Just get good on your own.
Get a chronometer, start counting hours. Once you get to 2,000 hours, then look up and you'll get an opportunity. There's no hack or no inside road or the way to magically make it happen. Just do the work.
Just do it. That's it. You retweeted this great quote. I don't know who it's from, but you retweeted it. It said, "The reason you don't have the skills you need is because you're unwilling to suck for as long as it takes to get good."
Yeah, Alex Hormozy. Yeah.
What a great quote. I love that. Isn't that the truth? Just put in the hours. I wish I would have known that when I was younger. I always thought there was some secret that I had to do this and that. No, it was just like my father-in-law. He was a painter and didn't have much education, but he did well in life, and he just showed up to work every single day, and just that's how he became successful. It's it. It's very simple.
Yeah, yeah. I can make one remark by another quote of Alex Hormozy. It's one thing is how hard you row. The other thing is what kind of a boat you're in. If you're in a speedboat or a rocket, that's going to be a lot easier than if you're in an oil tanker. For example, if we both work in different industries, and you're in the construction industry and I'm in Web3, we can both work as equally as hard, but the opportunities I'm going to get are going to be orders of magnitude bigger, simply because it's a newer industry. So I do think you have to make some conscious decisions and reflect on where you want to go. But in the end, yeah, I mean, mastery is just time invested.
Absolutely. You have plenty of guys that wonder why they're not rich. Oh, I work so hard. Well, I mean, hey, you do, but you're a garbage man, and
Yeah,
that's
I
a
mean,
hard job. But you're putting all that output into something where there's a ceiling,
yeah, there's
nothing you
no
can do.
leverage. I mean, that's also one of the reasons. I mean, I listed like 15 different jobs I did, and every time I got to a point like, okay, I'm hitting the ceiling. I'm hitting the ceiling, and I can't go up. The only thing I can do is sit on my ass and watch my hairs fall out, and I'll get a percentage a year. No, that's not going to happen. I'm not willing to accept that. So
Yeah, bail immediately. I agree.
yeah.
I had a question for you. You posted something about using Claude Sonnet 4T, and it was
Yes.
costing you some money. I don't know anything about that. Explain why this is better than my 20 a month Claude.
Well, I mean, you have different versions of Claude or the different LLMs, and Claude for thinking is currently for our type of work, I think, the best one, and it's quite a bit more expensive. So it's like 200 to 400 bucks per month. So it does add up, but I think it's it's an accelerator, it's a multiplier in speed, so it's worth the investment, I believe.
Well, give me an example. So I use Claude for writing reports and writing POCs. Would
Okay,
that
I
help in
don't.
that regard, or use it for something
I
else?
don't. I don't use it to write reports. I just use it to help it explain functions. For example, I'm in a Solana code base, and there's like one macro which is using which I don't really quite understand. I just copy it to the chat window, explain this macro, reference this macro with all known vulnerability databases, explain to me if there is a possibility for a vulnerability. And it's going to give me like an output, which I would have had to use like 30 minutes of Google search in 5 seconds. And that's a productivity boost, which is quite valuable. So it speeds up learning by a factor of 5 or 10.
Do you feel that makes it's very easy to lull you into complacency? When
Not
it says,
really.
oh, we got them all, or this is the bugs.
No, no, not at all. Because I don't use it to find bugs. I'm using it to describe me this function. Why is this here? Um, so I don't look at it as a way to find bugs. What I do sometimes do, like, I have this bug, like, can you verify this? Why is this correct? And then it gives me like sometimes reasons why it works or not work, half hallucinate, half not. But it basically forces you to argue with the LLM, and in a discussion you also have often more viewpoints that come up that you haven't considered before. So
Well, you said that you say, hey, like, hey, run this through all known vulnerabilities. So, I mean, wouldn't that be hunting for bugs? In a way, you're having it identify bugs, and I'm saying, could that make you complacent because it didn't find anything, whereas there still could be some there based upon the known
uh,
vulnerabilities? You know what I mean?
well, I guess I like that one. Well, but the issue is I don't know all possible vulnerabilities, and I'm learning as fast as I can. But I don't have time for every line of code to spend 30 minutes on Google. Um, so it's just a way to get the most amount of information I can in the quickest way possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It is a multiplier in so many different
Yeah.
ways, and it's like each time you could find a different way to use it.
Mhm.
No, Claude Sonnet 4T. Okay. So you think it's worth the price, what you're paying?
Yeah, it's worth the price. I mean, if I can increase my speed of learning by 10%, it's worth the price, and I think it's a lot more. So
interesting. I'll have to check it out. Definitely.
yeah, and secondly, for writing tests, it's really good. I mean, well, at least for Solidity tests, it's really good. For Rust, it still sucks kind of bit because there's not enough data for that. But Solidity tests, that's made like make me the test to prove, or this is scenario, write it with this function, and that's like instead of 2 hours, it's like 20 minutes to get a working test.
Yeah, it has saved me. I used to dread writing the report and then writing the tests, and it has saved me so much time just to immediately do that. I love it. Yeah, fantastic. I also noticed, is this true or false? You used to work at IBM?
I did, yes.
I also did way back in the day. Global services.
Yes.
You were in DevOps?
I was first IBM sales. I was in cybersecurity sales. Then I left to switch to IT. I did a boot camp for Java, and then I got hired back as a DevOps consultant. So.
Yes, back in the
Yes.
day.
Yeah, that was quite an experience. Like we have 300,000 people. You have 15 managers. We have 15. No manager is actually doing something aside from drinking coffee, but they're here, and this is your job. If you don't do it, we're still not going to fire you. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Do you look back at those old jobs and just think like it? I mean, it's such a foreign world to me, the corporate workforce that's not around our industry. And just because I had 8 managers like you, and I'm like, that's fucking crazy. It is crazy that kind of organization exists. And some of these are just in motion, and they have so many contracts and so many contacts and this and that, where it's really hard to slow that beast down. But to like mentally, people still work there is the thing too. And people are getting hired on there, people out of college. And yet we're in this field that's like, it's like we're completely in the future. They don't even know what these things that we're doing are. They're hearing about stable coins, maybe in the Wall Street Journal, and they're still like, oh, what is that? Oh, how does that work? Oh, it's probably and then they label it with whatever because they don't understand it. But I mean, even though our industry is from I'd say 2008, around that time, Bitcoin, and now where we are now, it's like even those Ethereum and Bitcoin and blockchain, everyone's heard of it, but the amount of people that even understand it or work with it, it is so tiny.
Yep. Yeah, but if you spend some time in the corporate world, you understand that most people don't want to work. They got a job and they make it their mission to do the absolute minimum in life, as long as they don't get fired. And they're happy to do that. I mean, that's like comfortable misery, as I like to call it. And they don't learn anything because they're not forced to learn anything, and they don't want to learn anything because it takes effort, and effort is the devil. So those guys will be replaced by AI or the robots in a few years, and they reap what they sow.
And yet they have the salaried handcuffs. I remember the corporate job. You're getting the money and you're just tired. You just want to relax at the end of the day. And it really can just weigh you down and lock you in. But I mean, what happened? Go ahead.
I don't agree with that. I mean, yeah, you get a lot of money and it's easy, but those aren't handcuffs. That's just you being lazy and you allowing yourself to compromise on your dreams. And if that's good for you, I mean, do it, no problem. But you're responsible for your own fate, and if you put it in somebody else's hands, you don't have the right to complain.
What happens to all these guys? And you're thinking the timeline is how many years from now, where all these positions are eliminated through AI?
Well, honestly, I think it's going to be slower than many of the people in our bubble assume, because we're simply used to a world that advances and evolves so much more rapidly. I mean, a lot of the people at IBM, IBM makes money somehow, with all the contracts they have. And sure, they'll have like ChatGTP and whatever the hell, but they'll still be around for a very long time as long as the company is making money. Because it's more friction to fire people than to just keep them around. So I think it's going to be like 20 years, honestly, before there's going to be a real tectonic shift. But in the meantime, people who do adapt it will have productivity boosts of like 10 to 100%, and they will reap the rewards.
Yeah, that's a good point too. There are people, especially the younger generation, that's some are listening to the advice of their parents and they're saying, "Oh, I'm going to go get that part-time job at McDonald's, this and that." And they're doing the same thing their parents did, which I
Mm,
think is not good advice. And the other guys you see on doing affiliate marketing or content creator or web3 security or just some new
mhm,
industry that their parents had no idea about, and they're making crazy money,
mhm.
and they're just go-getters. I mean, I think even though, hey, I love my parents, we all love our parents, you just have to not listen to their advice. It's just not, it's not on topic now. It's
Oh,
not
of
at
course.
all.
I mean, they give the advice that worked for them at their time for their world, but that world doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, in that regard, it's going to be a very interesting situation because there are not so many opportunities for people. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities, but not in the quantity to satisfy everyone. So if AI comes, the robots comes, they know what's going to happen. Like 50% unemployment. I don't know.
And which countries do you think this wave starts in?
I think mostly, well, Asia. Asia, I think Asia or the United States. I mean, United States, you have, of course, Elon Musk with his all his new inventions. And you do have like a startup culture there. They do have economic innovativeness. Now, if you're like Asia, like Singapore, Japan, like Thailand, South Korea, which are quite advanced. Europe is kind of dead. I mean, it's like nice to eat, nice to see the buildings, but for the rest, it's just dead. Middle East, well, they're swimming in money, but I don't know if they're going to swim economically. And Africa, well, it's just Africa. So, I mean, yeah. you know.
I know. I'd say, yeah, I'd agree with that. The major cities in Asia to start with, and then America, because they're always trying to push forward on change and new things. And Europe, I mean, I live in Europe now. I'd have to agree. And
Mhm,
even, I mean, even with the U.S., this and that, people talk on Twitter like things are happening immediately. The downfall of the US, the dollar, oh, AI is going to take everyone's jobs. I could tell you right now, you're really looking at this from the not the right lens, because once you've been in plenty of businesses and you've traveled
mhm,
a lot of businesses are, my God, they're in the Stone Age. Like
mhm.
they're not in the 90s, they're not in the noughties. They're not here at all. They're way back, and their processes are dated, but the business still runs. You put
Yeah,
out
yeah.
LLM tools, it doesn't really matter for them. So there's a lot of this throughout the world. So transitioning everyone, in my mind, I agree with you. It will take longer than what people think.
Yeah, because I mean, an established business is like led by managers whose only goal is to keep their job. So as long as the competition isn't using AI to crush them, they're
Hmm.
not gonna take the effort or the effort that it takes to adapt AI because they have to fire people. They're gonna be unions. They're gonna be strikes. They might lose their jobs because if you don't have a team anymore, why should you need a manager? So it's like, yeah, there's going to be a tech elite sector which adopts it and which is going to the moon or Mars or something. But the vast majority is going to stay as slow as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, the guy making paper straws at his company making 100 million a year. I guess his marketing spend, that'll be interesting, because these guys, the older guys, they're not going to say, "Hey, we know how to do a video prompt and create our own ads." There will be a middleman who's
Mm-hmm.
just he's maximizing. He's that smart young guy. He's taking all that
Yep.
revenue. He's making ads, and it's costing him nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for that yes, services that they can buy, give me a video of our product and flying dinosaurs or something. Yeah, that's gonna happen, and some very smart people are gonna make a lot of money. Same with
Yeah,
us. I mean, yes, the app in the bank is gonna say the same as it was 20 years ago, but behind the app, it's gonna be blockchain, and they're gonna pay a hell of a lot of money to people like us.
because we were the guys on the front lines testing everything, getting
Yep.
rugged. Yes. So let's get back to Web3, right? As I prefer crypto. About bounty hunting, you never dipped your toe in. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
What
Because
happened?
my goal initially was basically to copy Pashov. So it was like I need to get some success in contests. I'm gonna establish myself on Twitter, and hopefully then I get private clients, and then I can get a business rolling. Because
Hmm.
bounty hunting, I mean, you can make a lot of money, but you can also go 6 months without anything, and you don't have anything to share or anything to get in motion. So I thought it wasn't a wise investment of my time.
Hmm. So, but what happened with the audit company? Instead, you went to Certora.
Well, I did build my audit company, Rock Solid Security, and I was getting like some small clients left and right, but it's difficult to get clients if you don't have a marketing budget, if you don't have a really established deep network.
Hmm.
Now, if Certora, because honestly I wasn't planning on it, they contacted me and I was like, "What the fuck? They want me?" So yeah, because I didn't even consider that because my plan was, look, I'm I had restarted my IT consultancy business in Web2, now in cybersecurity. So I was making like 12K a month on that, and then I was working just like 40 hours extra, auditing, getting clients, writing articles, and the idea was, look, I'm gonna just work 80 hours a week for an entire year and then I'm gonna try to jump again to go full Web3. But then, yeah, Certora came along. Was like, look, we really need money. Sorry, we really need experienced people. Are you interested? And I was like, fuck yes. And that's what she wrote.
Mm. Yeah, it's that makes sense because you look down this confusing path of crypto, and there's all these different ways to make money, and you say,
Hmm.
okay, what am I best skilled at? You could say trader. Is that me? Yes, no.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't really have control over that process. Some guy's great at it. I'm not. All right, security, auditor, marketing, biz dev. Like, there's so many cool opportunities that could lead you. Honestly, um, almost all of these positions, even like community moderator to Discord,
Hmm.
you could probably get a token drop or something. Like, a lot of these could lead you to the gold rush of crypto, but one is going to be much more suited to your
Hmm.
skill set than others.
Yeah. Yeah. My consideration was mostly take the venue that is going to allow me to acquire skills, technical skills, in the fastest way. Because I
Hmm.
can I can do Web 2 and then alongside Web 3, but it still means I have to work 40 hours just to pay the bills in Web 2, and that's useless time. That's
Hmm.
time completely wasted. So if I can make, well, actually a lot more money purely working 60 hours in Web 3, that's a winner. Because in the end, what I love also about our specific craft is there is no end in sight for skill acquisition, and the
Hmm.
rewards are directly correlated to your skill. I mean, why does Victor and Obrand, why do they make millions instead of 100Ks like we do? Because they're just better, and we can get better if we invest a few $1,000 more. So the more time I can spend increasing my skills, the more money I will make.
Rareskills.com/riptide. Okay. Anyway, another trait that those two guys have are they do not get psyched out.
Mhm.
I got psyched out from the Pectra competition. I looked at it and I looked at the code and I said, "Oh, this just looks too complex," and it psyched me out. And I'm
Mhm.
not even going to try. It's too complex. I think there were only, I'm going to say, less than 15 people on that
13.
leaderboard. Okay, it
13.
doesn't mean just those guys competed, right? But Zictor, Obron, these guys, they get in there and they're like, "Hey, fuck it." Like, I met him in
Mhm.
Belgrade a couple days ago. Great guy, and they're smart as hell, and they did not get intimidated at all. Because when you see a complex code base, it's easy to say, not worth my time, and you go to the next thing.
Yeah, that's a big mistake I also made. Like, I'm gonna focus on the small contests, the easy contests, and then everybody's doing that. And then you have like the big ones. It's like 3 people, and they're like, fuck, they made like
Yeah.
200K. No, at the same time, you can also say, look, they focus on that because they have the skills. So it's a match in heaven for them. But yeah, I mean, for anybody listening, if you have the choice of a bigger, complex code base or a smaller one, take the biggest, bigger always. And even if you don't get paid, just in skill acquisition, it will be beneficial.
Yeah, get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's where your
Exactly.
biggest gains will happen in knowledge, earnings, experience, everything.
Yeah.
And that applies to life too, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want to be comfortable, then be satisfied with mediocrity. Because I'm only where I am in life simply because every year I said, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go in and jump in the dark and hopefully I'll swim before I drown. And otherwise, well, okay, respawn, I guess. But, you know, that's what life is. So if you want to reach the heights of the Mount Everest, you need to be a bit insane and screw stability. I mean, I have 3 small children and I said, fuck it. I have 1 cent. And I'm going all in, and I'll do it again and again because I want to live a full life and not a half life.
Even though Half-Life was a great game.
I wouldn't know. I don't have time for games.
Oh my god, you're not a classic gamer. I agree with
I
you.
used to be, but now 3 children and all that
It's
work.
impossible. Yeah,
It's just not. You know, I used to be a StarCraft addict, but I can't play it anymore because every time I play, I feel how much I suck now. And I was like, okay, I need like 100 hours of dedicated practice. And okay, I don't. I just have 1 hour and just 1 hour of sucking. No, then I don't like that.
Yeah, I can't pick up a game now. I could pick up the last game I played was Doom Eternal for Xbox, and it was the most. It was just my heart was beating. It's in like 4K, and like an FPS, a proper FPS. I've always been a Doom fan. It's just something feels good. It's like doing a workout. Like you're killing some people, and maybe I could do like 15 minutes of it, 20 minutes of it, and then I'm like, oh, I feel drained, but I feel great. I feel great, but I can't do hours, man. No, I can't do it anymore. It's just I don't have the time, and it doesn't have my attention.
Yeah, no, it's like a friend of mine who's like really deep into RPGs like Baldur's Gate, and I used to do it a long time ago, and he was like, I mean, there's like new Baldur's Gate, why don't you play this anymore? Why don't you play this? Like, I said, no, you're getting it wrong. I am a hardcore gamer. I still am, but the game I'm playing is called Life, and I want to maximize all my stats, so I don't have time for the virtual stuff.
That's right. I can't justify to my kids and say, hey, what'd you do today? Oh, yeah, I knocked out 5 hours in some RPG.
Yeah.
There's no way I could
no,
say that with a straight face.
No, exactly. It's like no, it's like no. I can say I worked 15 hours. I'm sorry, honey, because I have to pay the bills and stuff like that. But you know, I spent 2 hours on League of Legends screaming at other people, calling them retards. No, that's not.
But as the father, you can't win no matter what because you work too much. Your kids say, "Oh, you work all the time," and they have no clue why you're working. And then you're not working enough, and your wife is trying to buy something, she can't. Oh, fuck. Well, you're screwed no matter
what. Well, that's. I mean, my wife is a stay-at-home. I said, look, I pay the bills. You cook, and that's the arrangement. And then you can play a lot with the children. So everybody knows that, and everybody is appreciative of that. So, you know, it works.
That's all you need. That is all you need. I wanted to introduce the Alpha Drop. Are you familiar with this, sir?
Remind me again.
This is where you drop your most valuable alpha on the podcast. And this could be within coding. This could be some life alpha, whatever. Would you like to go first, or should I?
No, sure. I'll go first.
Okay.
So apply at Certora. We need people, basically. But my advice is there are 1,000 opportunities to change your life in Web3, to make millions of dollars, do whatever you want in the world, and all it requires is a dedication to work hard. So close whatever else you're doing and start working, and all your dreams will come true. Or don't, and they won't.
Very simple and straight to the point.
Mhm.
And throw in a Saitama workout, 100 push-ups, one or some deadlifts.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the workouts in. All right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Alpha drop from mine. This is going to be one of my favorite Solidity tips for the new guys and for the OGs. So Solidity is so great. I love Solidity. But do you want to refresh your memory on all the trapdoors of Solidity? You don't need to go to a guide or some guy put this together, this and that. It's all been there. It's all in the same place. You just go to the Solidity docs, go read through it, and the red warning boxes are the best. You'll refresh your memories. Oh, that is some strange behavior that I totally forgot about. If you're looking for a good bug idea, go to the red warning boxes and just say, I wonder if the devs thought of that. I tell you, it'll pay off.
On that note, do you think Solidity is still going to be the main programming language? Because I see a lot more Rust or Rust-based languages coming up, and just in the pipeline at Certora as well, it's so much not Rust. It seems like it's a bit diminishing.
I would like to see an updated chart. I think it's still the dominant language out there. What is second? Is it Viper? It's second?
No, Viper is dead. I mean, there's like one protocol in the entire world who's using Viper.
How dare you say Viper?
Yeah, it's a beautiful language, but nobody uses it.
You're fanning the flames. Holy shit.
Well, I mean, it's true, right? It's like what was like one big program. Like, no, what was it?
You come on here, Rust maxing all over the place. So obvious. Paradigm controls you. All right.
No. It's I'm thinking what is like the one DeFi protocol on EVM which is using Viper, and that's it. I think I can't even think of another one.
Yeah, I'm thinking Curve is the number one.
Yeah, that was the one. Yes,
Yearn,
and that's the only one.
Curve Mafia, they love their Viper, and they're also doing work behind the scenes developing it. Who else? A couple some VE lockers, a couple other protocols. Honestly, there's not that many. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's based. I mean, sorry to say. I mean, Patrick also loves it, but it's just from utilization, it's basically dead. And I mean, if Vitalik posted like a few threads a few weeks ago to change the EVM also to Rust based. So if that goes through, it's gonna be Rust, or Rust. I think.
Oh man, well, I need to learn Rust. I don't know Rust. Shit. I don't know. I don't know if Solidity is going to be the dominant language going forward. I think it's all too soon. I know we'll say, hey, well, back in the day it was. Will that continue? Man, that's hard to tell. You think it's going to be more leaning towards Rust going forward?
Well, I think Solidity is going to stay around as an important language. But if you look at Solana, Move, Cairo, the ZK LMs, so many of them are Rust or a variant of Rust. It's also just from a business opportunity because, I mean, 99% of all security auditors are experienced in Solidity, but not in Rust. So there's a lot more work. The level of security and of protocols is a lot lower. A lot more, obvious bugs that we don't see anymore in Solidity are present. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
You say there's more bugs, low-level bugs in Rust.
Yes.
Than Solidity. So
yeah, because I'm not talking. Yes, Rust is a safe language, but for example, there are security practices. You have the Open Zeppelin libraries. You have experience accumulated over years by Solidity developers. Specifically for smart contracts, which means that the level of security has slowly increased. But for Solana or for Move, they're basically starting from zero.
Mm-hmm.
So it's often like Rust developers, Web 2 Rust developers who start developing in Web 3, but they don't really have any affinity or experience with the security blockchain related stuff. So we have more basic bugs, which in Solidity wouldn't never happen because everybody knows you shouldn't do X, Y, Z.
Like overflow.
Yeah, for example, yeah, overflow or basic business logic, or for example, testing. Testing in Solana, for example, is a lot harder to write. Fuzzing is nearly non-existing. So it's just code bases which are a lot more vulnerable.
I've never looked at Salana. Like, what are some challenges when you have a Salana project coming in that you have to audit compared to Solidity?
Well, the size is like twice or three times because I mean Rust is just a very verbose language. Um, Aside from that, well, architecturally, it's very different. They have the account model, so everything is basically an account. You have like accounts with data and accounts with money, and it's all accounts talking to accounts. So that's a bit of adjusting. But for the rest, I mean, once you get past those initial hurdles, it's basically the same stuff like business logic, input validation, are yeah, the basic stuff you get in a Solidity. So if you're experienced enough, it's quite easy to look past the language and just look at the errors.
And again, my Solana knowledge is noob level. So there's nothing verified though, right? So if I don't have the code base and I go on the Solana Explorer, I can't see the code. Is that correct?
No, do think you can. There are ways to get the code, I think, but I'm not going to be sure about that because I've been working on Solana now for 4 months, but I'm also not yet an expert in this.
Is it
But it's
less
like,
transparent than, say, going on Etherscan and looking at the source of a contract?
yeah, it's a lot less transparent. There are a
Okay.
lot less tools, and the tools are a lot more primitive than they are in Solidity because Solidity is more mature. The EVM,
Mhm.
I mean.
Do you feel that's going well for that ecosystem? This kind of security by obscurity method.
Well, it's simply a process of learning. Like in the first 3 years of Solidity, we had also bugs, which by now would have looked like impossible because it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Solana is starting from zero, so they have their own learning difficulties, and I think the ecosystem is growing well, and they'll learn bug by bug and protocol by protocol. So takes time.
Do you think overall, like, do you think Solana has kind of had its day because it branded as a gambler's shitcoin casino? And then I wonder if do you think this continues? They morph into a new narrative, and Rust continues to dominate, and more people flock to Solana. And if you do, like, why do you think they'll go there versus, say, Ethereum?
Well, I think there were a lot of opportunities on Solana network, and they also do have like some very big DeFi protocols like Jito, Camino, Marinade, who do the standard DeFi lending, staking, AMMs. It's just that, like Pump Fun is famous in the crypto world, but it's also like a very small world with a lot of echoing, and it's also the question when the big money, institutional money, comes in, where are they going? Solana and Rust have their advantages because you can have Rust developers who quite quickly learn the language and the peculiarities of Solana and can start building. The TPS is an advantage. So no, I think it has sufficient momentum to continue.
What about demand for these other languages? You mentioned Move and Cairo, and
Yeah.
I hear this from other auditors where they're seeing it, but as an end user and someone who browses the blockchain, I don't know of these projects. I don't see them. I don't hear much about them. And when I do hear
hmm
about them, it's kind of negative or overhyped metrics.
hmm
What do you think?
So the difference between Move is simply like a variant of Rust, which is from the bottom up designed to be a smart contract language. So it's more secure. I haven't worked with myself personally, but I know, for example, Aave just launched their own version of Aave on the Move blockchain. So it's going well for the moment, but I don't know the overall viability or perspectives of Move. Cairo, that's basically ZK proofs. That's the Rust version, which is is made so people can work with ZK proofs without actually having to understand the ZK math. So the more ZK is used, which should explode in the next few years, the more there are going to be Cairo projects, because I mean the amount of people who actually understand ZK math is kind of extremely low. So I think that does have a big future.
Do you think the projects that jumped into ZK jumped too early? Like from an end user perspective, you look at it and you're like, well, ZK, okay, most users don't care. Like, let's look at Polygon's ZK EVM. No one uses it, and they failed to basically attract protocols there and stuff like that. They have some minor usage, but in the end, people are like, well, okay, is it degenable? Am I going to go on there and earn some yield? Like, why? There has to be incentive marketing behind it, whatever. But in the end, ZK, yeah, privacy, great, sounds cool, but mostly the end user's like, doesn't matter. I'm making money. What do you think?
Yeah, but I don't think the use case is for specific individual users. I think it's more like a bet on the big institutional money, because at some point, the actual financial sector, all the banks are going to come, and they want secure private ways to transfer the money. They don't want to have like an EVM where everybody can see that Trump sent this much to this person, or Elon did this to that person. They want pure privacy. And ZK is an excellent way to do this. So I think for many of those, it's just like a bet. Let's get it on. Hopefully, we match the time that we have our product, our money isn't gone, and the banks are coming. If that's a match, they're going to make billions. If it isn't, then they're going to make zero. So yeah, but I mean, it's like the survivor's story. If he survives this and gets the billions, he's a genius. If he doesn't, then he's a retard. So
that's a good point.
You're courageous to try.
I think we'll look back and we'll say, yeah, you would just send a transaction. Everyone could see your entire transaction history, and that was, you were cool with it. Well, yeah, yeah, who cares? Yeah, even though the ENS said my full name and address too. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, man. That's like the frontier we're in. I mean, just talking about the governments who are trying, no doubt, to steal our money in a few years, all crypto money. I'd prefer it to be private. Like, money, I don't have money. Where's my money? I mean,
yeah.
So there is a big future for that, but that's often with the new technologies. They just make a bet, and if they win big, and otherwise they're gonna go on the pile of history like $1,000 that tried and failed.
That's true. All right, I want to wrap up, but I want to hear, give me Flint's glimpse into the future. What does it look like?
That's a very interesting question. I do. When you look like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, when you have now the different forces of like blockchain, AI, and perhaps like genetic manipulation to reach immortality, and I think we're slowly going to like a carbon black cyberpunk world. The moment the financial flows go to the blockchain where national governments cannot control them, half of the Western hemisphere will collapse. So I think it's going to be very chaotic and very interesting in 5 to 10 years. And I hope everyone is listening will have the means to be mobile and protect themselves.
Very interesting. And just to add on that, I would say get your ass a house in the country, in Europe, where it's still in the Stone Age. And hopefully
I wouldn't say, I'd say go to Asia, go to like the Middle East, go to, I don't know, New fucking Zealand. Europe is 99% the communist dictatorship, and that's not going to go well.
All right. Lay low. That's all I could say.
Exactly.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Flint. And
it was a pleasure.
We will see you all next time on the blockchain.